Well, most of us will never spend more on something than we do on our house, right? Cars they come in kind of right behind there in second place.
Probably, and they're not cheap to buy. Maintenance alone can be costly. Who's game for some free advice today?
Yeah, with us today from Certified Transmission, Mr. Peter Fink.
Hey,
Good to see
Peter.
you, Peter.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm going to correct that, okay?
Oh,
you know, maintenance is actually the cheap part. It's if you don't do the maintenance
Right.
when it gets expensive.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I get that.
Yeah, so we got some questions. Let's get to these first questions because it may take some time to answer some of these. This first one is from Mitch, and he says, is a rebuilt transmission the same as a remanufactured one? What do these terms mean, and what's the difference?
You know, there's a lot of people out there that will use the term rebuild or remanufactured, okay? They are used and interchanged very loosely, but there is a big difference between the two. Rebuilt usually means that's what's done at a shop level, okay? You bring your car in, they pull the transmission out, they go in and fix what's broke, put some new seals and clutches in, and that's called a rebuild, okay? Remanufactured means you actually go into some product and you repair and make like new everything in there, regardless if it was wore out or not, okay, and stuff, all right? Now, a lot of people say, wow, it's a play on words, okay? Well, no, it isn't, okay? Remanufacturing is usually done at a plant level, okay? We have a plant here in Omaha. We're the only ones that have a plant, okay, in the surrounding area, okay, and stuff. Other people offer a rebuilt transmission, and don't get me wrong, when we first started out many, many, many moons ago, that's all we did too, was a rebuilt transmission. But then we moved into remanufacturing, okay? And it is a higher quality, okay, on any product. It isn't just a transmission. It could be a copy machine. It could be a starter. It could be a car part. It could be non-car part related, okay? Remanufacturing usually always means it's a higher level. It's as close as you can get to new without actually buying new.
Well, what's the difference there then? What's the difference between a new
Does it last
transmission?
longer? Yeah.
You know, new means every part was never used,
Yeah.
okay? In remanufacturing, okay, some of those parts were used before. In a transmission, complicated, okay? You have hard parts and soft parts, okay? Hard parts are your clutch, are your pumps and drums and cases. I tell people if you drop it on your foot and it hurts, it's a hard part. That's the part that will be remanufactured or remachined or resurfaced or something like that. Soft parts are your clutches, seals, bands, bushing. Those are automatically replaced in a remanufactured or a rebuilt transmission, okay, and stuff.
So it's about the longevity. Like,
it is,
yeah,
it is, without a doubt.
So if you're spending the money, it's better to go with a remanufactured.
It's usually only a few dollars more, and it's definitely a lot better.
I see what you're saying. Our next question comes to us from Marnie, and she asks, do hubcaps serve a purpose other than being pleasing to the eye? I lost a hubcap off my 2005 Civic, and I am too lazy to replace it.
Well, at least she's being honest here, okay, and stuff, and obviously there's a little cost there. You know, really the only thing a hubcap does is it serves to keep the lug nuts from all the weather, okay, especially around here with the salt in the winter time, okay, the lug nuts and the threads will get exposed. If you have a hubcap on there, they don't get exposed, and so it's going to be much easier if you ever have to take the wheel off yourself, such as if you get a flat tire and have to do it yourself, okay, to take off. An impact will usually overpower it. Do you have to have it? No. It does make the car look a little bit better. There is no doubt. Even a cheap set of hubcaps is better than the old black wheel, okay, and stuff, you know.
But it's not like wind shear will affect gas mileage.
No,
coming
it's
off
nothing,
on the
nothing
highway.
like that. It's not going to make the wheel or gas mileage or any of those kind of things, okay. It's really, you know, I had to think about that for a second, you know, and when the question was asked there for, you know, did it serve any other purpose, okay. And now the only thing is to protect the threads, okay, because they don't have a fully enclosed lug nut. It's just open and the threads are exposed, okay. So, you know, you probably should go to U-Pull it and get one for $5, okay, or maybe a salvage yard or something. Of course, then they're mismatched, okay, so I don't know. I mean, you don't have to, okay, there's no doubt about it.
So it sounds like in her case, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
All right, let's get to this last question, then we'll get you out of here, Peter. Kristen writes, the check engine light has been on a few times in my 2008 Ford Escape the past month, but it always turns off after a day or two. Should we take the car in, or is the issue resolving itself? Seems to correspond with particularly humid or rainy days.
That's interesting.
Well, usually when it's something with a humid or rainy day, you're going to have some kind of wiring or connection problem, okay, because they're getting damp and one of the seals aren't working properly. This one will be a very difficult one, most likely to find for any shop to work on, especially when it goes away. But when the check engine light comes on, these new cars, and new cars, when I say this, I mean literally it's from about 2000 on, okay, so have what they call stored codes in them in the computer, and so we can go in, hook a scanner to it, and see what code was set to make that engine light come on, okay, and stuff, and that will give us a clue to start looking in what direction, okay, and stuff. Obviously, it's not going to be emergency. No, cars don't fix themselves, okay.
They're not self-healing.
Okay, not yet, not yet. Maybe someday, okay, but not yet. Obviously, it's an intermittent problem that's kind of going. Check engine light comes on there's a perimeter. Let's just say there's a high and a low, and if the switch works inside this perimeter, this light don't come on. For some reason, something's making it go outside the perimeter. If it's a humid or wet day, it could be a little bit higher resistance in the connection. It goes outside the perimeter, the check engine light comes on, okay, and stuff, all right? So that's what makes a check engine light come on. When it goes back in that window, okay, for 2 or 3 key cycles, then the check engine light can go off. It didn't really go away, it just didn't set a code at that particular moment. It means the switch isn't bad at that particular time, okay, and stuff. So.
Gotcha.
Fancy rides.
Yeah,
We all want them.
It's a little
They're
complicated
temperamental.
anymore. Yep,
That first question we had today related to transmission specifically.
Sure.
And so if you have any questions that relate to your car and you're having an issue with your transmission, we always encourage you to contact the crew at Certified Transmission. There are 5 locations in the area, and then online you can make appointments there, learn more about the services at certifiedtransmission.com. Peter, it's great to have you back, as always.
Thanks, Peter.
Always
Good
fun.
to see you.
Thank
Great
you.
to see you guys.
And your question could be featured during our next visit with Peter or another member of his team. And a few ways to get those questions to us: email talkback@omahamorningblend.com, visit our website and click on the Certified Transmission button, or leave questions on our Facebook wall.
Still ahead this morning, our first What to Do Tomorrow. We're taking you an hour south of Omaha.
First, a safety event this Saturday. One mom who's taken her family before, why she believes it's important.
Thanks, Peter.